rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 137 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Willpower doesn't last, but rituals do. You know, we often think that we need tremendous willpower to make changes. And we do. Don't get me wrong. We need some willpower. But willpower alone isn't going to be enough. Willpower works really well when we've got some momentum, when we've got a track record of success. You know, willpower and stubbornness aren't the same thing, right? I think often they get confused or, put into the same category. To me, willpower is that desire that you have to continue on the course that you're on, being able to say no to the things you need to say no to, being able to continue to do the things that you said yes to, right? That to me is willpower overall. But I find willpower works best, especially when we're in the glow or the newness of something. You know, hey, listen, this is the year I'm making all the changes. This is the month I'm joining the gym. This is, today's the day I start eating better. Well, our willpower at that moment is phenomenal. But for some people, it doesn't last more than 10 minutes, 10 weeks, 10 days. Because willpower alone isn't enough. I think it's necessary, but we need to fortify it. We need to keep strengthening it. We need to keep supporting it. And to me, that's where rituals come in. We often talk, on this podcast about the morning rituals and the things, the steps that we need to do, the things we need to do consistently and systematically to the point where it's just who we are and what we do. Because one way or the other, guys, we do have rituals. We do follow rituals. Now, if we have bad habits, those are our rituals. If our morning ritual is getting up late, hitting the snooze button 3 times, racing out the door, driving like a fucking idiot, into the drive-thru at Tim Hortons, grabbing a double and something sugary, that's your ritual. There's no mistaking it. That's the ritual that you have gotten stuck into. Right? So a ritual can be good, a ritual can be bad. But no matter what, guys, we do things, we follow patterns. We just call them something different. Habits, force a habit, it's a force a habit. No, it's your ritual. We need to change the ritual. We need to have positive rituals. Then we need to employ those rituals consistently as possible. We are also only human. And sometimes things get away from us. I talked a few episodes ago how, about monitoring our energy levels and things like that, and where I kind of noticed that certain things had gotten away on me. And one of the things I noticed is that when I look back, I just really gotten away from my morning rituals. So now it's been about, a week or so, 10 days since we recorded that podcast. I'm firing up those rituals more, working on them, making it more important, making it a focus to hit it, to open up that book, to do the journaling, right? To do the reading, the little bit of exercise in the morning. Now, I'm a little rusty because I had stopped doing it for almost 2 months. But getting back to it, a huge sense of pressure coming off my shoulders because I knew that I'm getting back into something that makes a big difference overall. In fact, even the last 72 hours, I've seen a big difference in some of the things I've been able to accomplish, the clarity and stuff. And even this morning, I ran into a technical glitch with some of the stuff that we have in our membership software that was quite stressful, right? But I was already up. I was already awake. I was already engaged in the day. So I was able to get on top of it much sooner. Whereas a month ago, it wouldn't have been as easy because I had other things that were filling up my day, and I had other things that were clogging up my energy and even my headspace. This morning going through it, I was dealing with some frustrations, a little bit of anger. Even a couple episodes, we recorded 3 or 4 episodes. So even my first one was kind of tough because my headspace still wasn't quite clear. But that's okay. Shit does happen. Shit does affect us. But what I'm saying is if we have strong rituals and positive rituals, they prepare us to deal with those things. They embolden us to be ready for when shit hits the fan. And then the willpower, in my opinion, just feeds off that. He gets a chance to shine. So when we sit there and we look at the things that we need to do, and we do them on a regular basis, and we take the time to plan how things happen to us, and that's a big aspect of it as well, is too many of us get up and just let the day happen to us. We have to stop doing that. We have to happen to the day. We have to sit there and say, this is how I'm going to do my day. This is how I attack the day first thing in the morning. These are the things I like to do. This is the structure I like to have. Because then the odds tip into our favor. And then we're going to be able to deal with whatever comes up more effectively. But then we're also going to be in a better position of getting things done and staying on top of things, that we're going to limit a lot of the things that typically would happen to us. We're going to be already addressing them. So we limit the amount of fires that come up. We limit the amount of incidents that happen. Now, shit's going to happen. There's going to be weeks where we do get overwhelmed and a few things fall through the cracks. But if we're following our systems and we're following our rituals, we catch those things sooner. And they don't pile up as much. And it's easier to maintain that willpower when you're in control. It's easier to make that better food choice when you're not stressed the fuck out and you haven't eaten for 4 hours because you're not following any rituals. When we start making the changes in our food plans and we start eating specific and purposefully, magical things happen overall. But you can be eating really well for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. But if you have a day where all of a sudden shit goes off the rails and you haven't eaten for 4 or 5 hours, I don't care who you are, or 6 hours or 8 hours, I don't care who you are. You're going to be tempted by that muffin or that Mars bar or that bottle of Pepsi or that double-double. Because you've put yourself in a weakened state where your willpower alone is not going to be enough to deal with it. That's the one thing I admire about people that are high achievers, is that they have tremendous rituals and tremendous focus and detail to maintaining those rituals. And they make things look easy because for them, they've systemized themselves. But they're also the same people that are in control the majority of the day. The day isn't controlling them. I know that's what I'm, aspiring to get to, and I want to achieve, and I want to become that. And then going back to what we talked about, embracing the struggle, that is the tough part, because a lot of things have to be dealt with to get to that point. A lot of work has to happen to get to the point where you can be in better control. But we can't control anything around us until we have control over ourselves. We need to be able to run ourselves more efficiently. And when we do that, we're going to be better. We're going to have better will. We're going to seemingly have, ironclad willpower, when all we've done is we've worked on things and created rituals and procedures and systems to just make it in such a way that we avoid the issues and the situations that cause us to have to rely only on willpower. Rituals are where it's at. I still think early in the day as much as possible. One of the things I'm starting to do again is, sort of recap the night. And that's, I made sure the last 2 nights to do that. And I'm glad I did that, because when I had this thing hit the fan this morning with our software program, I had a couple things already done. Because we're human. If we're dealing with stuff and we know in the back of our mind we still have all these other things we have to deal with, but something big has come up and we have to deal with it, it's only going to stress us out more. And what happens when we get stressed? We get angry, we get emotional. When we get angry, we get emotional, we tend to do things, we tend to react. And then we want to do things that are going to make us feel better immediately. And typically that's sugar, that's booze, that's sex. But we're not doing those things for the reasons that they should be done. the positive reasons. We've put ourselves in a shitty situation and we're trying to mitigate some of the damage. We're trying to react to something rather than be proactive overall. So let's not put ourselves in a situation where it's only willpower that's going to get us through it, because willpower will weaken. Willpower will diminish. Willpower will crack. And then we start sliding back. And then we get all on top of ourselves for, what the fuck? I can't do anything right. Well, I might as well fucking eat shitty today too, because I ate shitty yesterday. And the momentum goes the other way. The rituals are where it's at. If things aren't going the way you want, look at your rituals. If you're not doing any positive rituals, that's the first thing to do. But don't fool yourself. The things you're doing now are your rituals. So if you don't like what's happening in your life, it's because you've got the wrong rituals happening. Change those rituals. Look down. What has to be done? And again, don't try to change everything overnight. Pick one fucking thing. What's the one thing you can work on immediately, right now, that can have the biggest effect on things overall? The lowest hanging fruit. Maybe it's sitting back and, calling back a bunch of people you haven't called back yet, or answering a bunch of emails you haven't answered because they're starting to come back and they're starting to bite you in the ass. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's sitting down and taking half an hour and taking a piece of paper and start to write some things down. What are the issues you have to deal with right now? What's not working? Write those things down. Look at it. Plan. Break it down. Pick one thing, solve it. And then move on to the next thing. Embrace that struggle. The rituals are where it's at, guys. That's all I have to say for that, guys. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating, a positive review. Head on over to hostilegear.com. Use the code word Silverback to save 20% off. And as always, work hard, motherfuckers. And I'll talk to you guys later.